Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Price to Sell podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Campoli. And this afternoon, usually I say today, so we're going to switch it up because today's all about switching up a bit. But today I have another incredible guest for all of you. A very good friend of mine. You know, we've done a couple of deals, or maybe one or two. One. We've been on the verge of many, but just one. But he is a absolute weapon in the industry. Someone I looked up to when I first started. And we have Mr. Mario Armani in the building. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for having me, big guy. Very excited and been watching the podcast for quite a while. So happy to be finally on it.
Yeah, and I know there's a question everyone out there is probably wondering, but are you related to Giorgio Armani?
I don't want to tell you the truth because if I tell you, you're not going to believe me. So family, on my father's side, distant cousins, believe it or not.
Actually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't have his suits, don't like his clothing, don't have his money, but it doesn't matter.
That's okay. Good. Fun fact. I was actually not expecting that answer, so very good information. But yeah, man, thank you for coming. It's been awesome. It's been a long time coming, and I want you to kind of let everyone out there, tell them a little bit about who Mr. Mario Armani is, what Armani Realty is, and how where it started for you with real estate.
You putting me on the spot now?
I am.
Okay. So been a realtor now 16 years. Got into business just kind of as a part-time thing. Owned a couple of houses. So at that time, HGTV was like super popular. People were doing like the flips and all that crazy stuff. So I said to myself, why don't I get my real estate license so I don't have to hire a realtor to do this for me, and I can buy properties on my own, sell properties on my own. So once that happened, realized that it was a lot harder to do than what they actually showed on TV.
Yes.
Lost a ton of money. And slowly but surely, people started finding out that I was a real estate agent. And it got to the point where I was making a lot more money working part-time and actually dedicating more time to real estate than I was on my job. So I just said to myself, you know what? I really enjoy this. I really like it. I think there could be a future in it for me. And I went full-time after I think it was like 3.5 years.
Part-time.
Yeah.
What was the job you were at?
My father actually used to have a marketing company, and I used to work with him. So we used to make campaigns. We used to help out other realtors as well, like do marketing campaigns, other businesses, car dealerships, that kind of stuff.
That makes sense because that's one of your strong suits.
I used to think I used to be. I don't feel like it is anymore, believe it or not.
No, it is. Okay. Even when we did our little, we'll get into, we did a little collab, and you did
that was a cool collab.
It was. You did the artwork for that.
I watched it the other day.
Oh, did you?
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good.
That was good. And then our live on during COVID. But funny story actually, when I first started in the business, so it's June 8th, 2022, market shifted, interest rates are up, we're going through a similar 2017, 2018 transition right now.
Yes.
When I got my first listing, it was when the mortgage rules came out and the foreign buyers tax came out in 2017.
Threw everything for a curveball.
Yeah, so everything was flying, and then this thing came out. I got my first listing, I'm like, we're listing $899, we're going to hold offers in Sonoma, and I was excited. I'm like, perfect, I think we'll sell, like, no problem. I had no idea what I was doing yet. And then, bam, things came out, no showings. And you're one of the calls I got, and you started to, like, ask me all these questions. But you were nice about it. And you're like, I didn't know a lot of the answers. I didn't. But you were,
you seemed like
super,
you knew.
I mean, that's just the sales guy in me. But you were super just knowledgeable and just asking all these questions. I'm like, that's a realtor. Because I got calls before, and, like, you can tell people don't care about their client. But the questions you were asking were like, this guy really needs some information because he's looking out for his buyers, So that was my first encounter with you.
Was I nice to you at least?
Yeah, you were great.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Or else you wouldn't be here. I'm kidding. I don't have many realtor enemies out there, but I do have a shit list. You don't want to get on it.
Everybody has a shit list.
I literally have a shit list with the shit emoji.
My shit list is so big, it's unbelievable.
I have 2 on there right now. I'll never name them, but I hope it doesn't grow, guys. Don't get on our shit list, okay?
Okay.
Don't do that. Don't be those agents. But let's talk about and now you're a broker record from Armani Real Estate, right?
Yes. So about 3.5 years ago, I made the decision to open up my own brokerage. I mainly did it just because I wanted to incorporate, but at the same time, because at the time they weren't allowing realtors to incorporate.
Yes, I remember that conversation.
But I also did it because I was kind of sick and tired of following the way that other brokerages wanted me to do things, which I didn't agree with. So I kind of felt like I wasn't myself. I wasn't doing what I wanted to, just because I have a certain way of doing things. So I said to myself, I'm going to go do my own thing, which is what I did. Yeah. And I've never looked back. Funny enough, I was talking about it with my wife last night. She said to me, she goes, oh, do you think it's really worth it to have a brokerage and this and that? You could be doing way less work. And I said, listen, it could be double the amount of work. I'm so much happier now as opposed to before. And I would never go back.
And just the name rings.
Yeah.
It sounds like some designer thing, you know?
I know. Thank you, Giorgio.
So we had a little chat prior on the phone. And when we actually, even last week, you called me, you're like, Matt, I don't know how you do the pod and how you want it to flow, but this is something really important I think needs to be addressed.
Sure.
And you want to talk about mental health.
Yes.
In real estate or any entrepreneurial type of.
So I'm very big on mental health in general. I spend a lot of time kind of trying to better myself. So I kind of have this mentality of every day I'm going to try to make it a little bit better than the day before.
Yeah.
That's my goal every day. Just in everything I do, whether it's my family, my job, my fitness, just anything in general. And one of the things that I feel often get looked past is mental health, especially on the realtor side, just because you have a lot of these crazy shows on Netflix and, you know what I mean, $1 million listing, and everybody sees realtors making these huge commissions and living this glorious lifestyle, which some of these realtors do live, but it doesn't come without a very big cost.
Yes.
And we go through a lot of mental anguish on a daily basis. I'm not afraid to say it, but there's 2-3 nights a month where I go to bed crying because I feel like I'm an inadequate father.
Yes.
I'm a bad husband. I'm not doing enough for my clients. I just constantly have that burden that because I'm dedicating so much time to my job, to my work, that it's taken away from other aspects of my life. And it is. And it's just very tough.
It is. It's a tough business. And it's all about balance, you know? And everyone's goal is to hit be a top producer, sell 50 plus properties a year, live that lavish lifestyle, or so we see. But then when you hit it, you realize all the stuff you sacrificed.
Yeah.
And you realize that, who am I? Your habits are off. Me last year, man, I'm getting better at it because I'm more conscious of it, but always on my phone. I'm constantly touching my pocket when nothing's even ringing, just little things like that. I'm never present in conversations.
Yeah.
I'm stressing out if something's not on the go, and I'm I just did a deal yesterday. Reward yourself.
Of course.
Right. Celebrate it a bit. It becomes more I stop getting excited. I do several deals in a week, and it's I just never took a step or never just acknowledged that.
Sure.
I just wanted the next, and that's it's like a disease, right?
Yeah, because you're constantly going, and you're not really stopping to smell the coffee kind of thing, right?
No, and I recently tried to stop drinking coffee, but I usually love smelling coffee.
Turned off my espresso machine years ago. I'm down to 2 coffees a day, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm doing one now around 1, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
I do organic beet juice.
Okay. I'll have to try that.
It lights me up, man.
Really?
Yeah, pre-workout. All organic, superfoods.
Sounds like it's going to give you the runs.
Sounds like it's going to give me better mental health.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to try it then.
But back to that, though, it is a problem. It's a problem. And I have, I realized where I was at last year. And I the best year I've ever had, but the worst I've ever felt,
Yeah, I can see that.
So what I did was I hired a life coach. And other different tools in the shed. I have a hypnotherapist, and people, there's a stigma attached to the word therapist. I feel as if you have a therapist, you might have problems or you have issues. But for me, it's more no, I'm just trying to be the best version of myself. Right.
Listen, the most successful people in the world, they have coaches.
Yes.
They have coaches because it's not about getting to the top. It's about getting there, but it's about just going to that next level and maintaining yourself and just kind of feeling great. This is something that I'm going to be starting in the next couple of weeks as well. I'm going to be going to see somebody just because sometimes, even though you have your friends and your partner, you want to get things off your chest. You want to kind of have somebody a third party kind of align you.
It's very
if that
true.
Makes any sense. Just because, again, I'm trying every day to be a better person, a better human being, a better father, husband, worker, just everything. And that is something that I feel I need to do just to become better.
Yes. And your whole dynamic's even different. You're another level. You have a family, wife, kids.
Yeah.
I'm just me. I have a cat, you know, so like I can only imagine my last year if I had
got
a
cat
family.
Too. I got 2 cats.
You have 2. See,
Two
more,
cats. And a dog.
even more. Oh my God! See, like you're
Shout
killing
out
me in that
Vincenzo.
department. But yeah, I can only imagine. It's a fight or flight business. It's so like, you know, for anyone
It's just
out there,
mentally draining. Like, people don't see it. Like, there's so much stress involved. You sacrifice so much of your life, and yes, you can be very well compensated. And a lot of the things that people don't see is they don't see that a business like real estate, like any business, you open up a coffee shop, a restaurant, you don't really start doing well right away. It takes a little bit of time. Mind you, over the last 3 or 4 years, I think that a lot of these newer realtors have been very spoiled because the market's just been
great,
unbelievable. But I think that now we're going to start seeing a lot of these guys trying to shift out of the market because it's getting hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting very, very difficult. So
Yeah.
it's just a tough game. And I think you're constantly having to work on the mental side of it, right? Like the same way like an athlete has to kind of condition himself to get up in the morning, train, and do all these things. I think we as realtors or as entrepreneurs, we don't do enough of that. We're just kind of getting up in the morning and we're just winging it. We have no plan, right? And I think that that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, especially when things, if you're, you know, gone to the business recently and you're experiencing all this prosperity and things are just going well for you, and now you're in situations like you're gonna get, you're gonna get fired out there.
Yeah,
people are getting fired out there.
Absolutely.
If you're not pricing it, you have to sell a house now, and if you're not pricing it properly, if you're not presenting it properly, if you're not doing your job, if you're just sitting back, you're getting fired. Because
there's a lot of people that they don't do things in the way that we do. Like for everybody that's at home watching, like a realtor like Matt or myself, when we'll list a property, we'll spend like $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 on marketing a property. So for us, if we don't sell that property, we're literally losing $1,500, $2,000.
Yeah.
But all these other realtors, they call the $200 photographer, they take 20, 30 pictures and they call it a day. So for them, if they don't sell that property, realistically speaking, they don't care.
Yes.
So it kind of works a little bit different. You know what I mean? There's all kinds in this business, right? There's realtors that really care, realtors that go above and beyond, and there's the ones that just kind of float on by. And I think that's what kind of differentiates people like us versus the other ones, right?
Yeah. And just in general, waking up every single day, you know, we're unemployed.
Yeah.
Right? You need to...
I wake up, so crazy thing is, and I tell this to the gentleman that works on my team, Adrian. I say to him, Adrian, I wake up every day thinking of the fact that I didn't do anything yesterday or the day before or the last 10 years. Like, I wake up every day thinking I need to make it happen today. Doesn't matter how much money I have, don't have, how successful I am or I'm not. I wake up every day hungry. And I think that's the mentality that you have to have as an entrepreneur. If you're not waking up like with that hunger inside of you to go get it, you're never going to get it.
Yeah. You get complacent.
Yeah, you get complacent. And just that's what happens to a lot of these realtors in this industry. They just forget about that consistency, right? They'll do something for a month. After the month is done, because all of a sudden they got busy because of the things they did during that month, they forget about everything they did and they lose it. And then after they're not busy anymore, they're kind of like, oh my God, what do I do? They start panicking, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think in life, you just have to be consistent with fitness, with eating, with being great to your partner, to your friends. Just, it's all about consistency.
All those things. And someone in your position, so you have your family, your kids, wife, 17 pets.
Yes.
Like you just mentioned. How, what are some tips you'd say? Like, how do you keep a good balance? How do you keep everyone satisfied?
I wish I can give tips.
Because you're busy, man. You're busy.
Yeah,
so.
I wish I can give tips, but it's just really hard, man. Mm-hmm. It's just really hard. I struggle with it on a daily basis. Over the last 4 or 5 days, I've barely seen my wife and kids just because I have a crazy amount of work, but I also have a couple of other projects. I'm helping a couple of clients also build some homes. Yeah. And it's tough because you got to be there, but you also have to be somewhere else, and you can't be at 2 places at once. So sometimes when you're at home with your family, you're kind of on the phone, you're with emails and this and that, and you're just not mentally there, right? So it's just tips, I would say, and something that I will start doing and I'm going to start doing more of is just putting away your phone. I think is just a huge thing.
It is.
And I've started to do that at night. Like, let's say the kids go to bed and I want to have like an hour and a half with my wife just to relax. I'll go ahead and I'll put the phone at the kitchen table. Because if I go ahead and I put it on the side of the couch, I'm going to grab it for something. Oh, I remembered this. Or, oh, you know what? Let me check an email. And then I'll grab it. And then 15 minutes goes by and I'm on my phone, right? Yeah. So it's just easy to get lost.
It is. And yeah, that's such a good point. Because if it's near you, if you see it, it's just all these things start going through your head. Like you're just triggered. Like, oh, I have to do this. Or, oh, I'm waiting for this to come in. And you just want to check. And you're not present. So it's like if you're having a conversation, like there's no, you're not present in the conversation.
Absolutely.
And then they'll feel that, whether it's friend, family, mother. I'm guilty of that too. My mom and stuff. I'll go hang out with her, and the whole time I'm just like working, and I feel bad. And so what I've learned to do is, like, my coach taught me this, is Google Calendar, color coding. You associate a color with different aspects of your life. So it's like personal time is blue for me. Real estate is strictly green. Friends and family is
green,
red.
man. It's all green.
That's the thing. So it's like, when you look at your calendar, what's the color? Like, what color's dominated? I'm like, green. He's like, you're working too much. He's like, balance it out. He's like, I need you to build out your calendar, and it needs to look color balanced. So it's like, I will force myself, like, okay, 7 o'clock, instead of doing real estate stuff, let me book a dinner with my mom, and it's like friends and family time.
I say it all the time. If it's not in my calendar, it's not in my life. Like, Google Calendar is everything to me. Because once, even like my wife, she won't ask me, hey, do you have time to do this? So her calendar is connected to mine. She'll go into the calendar, or if she needs to make an appointment, or she has to book an appointment for me, she'll just put it in the calendar. So once it's there, I have no excuses, right?
Yeah.
So
it's the best thing.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
I can't get away with things anymore now.
You start another one. Good. Don't hate me. But yeah, super important. I love that we touched on that. I do want to get into, so you have your brokerage, so your broker record, and you decided to open up Armani Real Estate and keep it boutique and small.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do. Like, some people,
that's what I want to do.
They want to open up. If I open up a brokerage, become broker record, I have to hire a bunch of agents and all this stuff. So how has that been for you?
It's a different model. So for me, the way that I want to do it, and always wanted to do it, is if you work on my team, you're part of my brokerage. There's a lot of discount brokerages out there that are great brokerages. They'll charge you very small amount of money per transaction. So I don't really see it as a profitable model for me to go ahead and, let's say, hire 100 realtors, because I also want to continue selling. So I don't want to be a manager. I want to continue being a salesperson. Yes, I want to have a team, but at the same time, I don't want to spend the majority of my time babysitting people, because as a manager, that's what you do. You have to make sure that people are following the rules. You have to make sure that your brokerage is running. And I don't want to spend my time that way. I want to spend my time actually transacting, doing deals, meeting people, just kind of growing my business that way. So that's kind of the angle that I kind of had in mind when I opened it. And it's been working, and it's great. And I'm going to continue rolling with that.
And you mentioned earlier, because you came in here and it was cool, because Mario called me and he's like, Matt, I could talk about all my highlights, all my achievements, everything I've succeeded, what works, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, I want to talk about, like, what I've failed at, like all the mistakes I've made.
Sure.
Right? So you mentioned you had a team.
Yeah, because everybody works. Everybody talks about the positive things, right? And like how they have this like crazy mentality, how they push and listen, like, no disrespect to anybody, but if you don't have that mentality as an entrepreneur, you're never going to be successful. Yeah. So to come here and talk about it, I think it's kind of useless. But yeah, I failed in so many areas. And it's funny because people say to me, well, why, like, what are things that you do to be successful, and how are you successful? And it's funny that I never think of myself as being successful. I never give myself as much credit as other people do, because I always kind of feel like, okay, well, whatever I did before, I did it, and that's fine, right? But when I was with my previous brokerage with Royal LePage, I started my first team, and I kind of thought to myself, well, I'll just hire realtors. If they seem like cool people, great. And if they sell things, they sell things. And I feel that was like a huge mistake, because there was like a period of like 4 or 5 months where I spent all my time managing these 4 or 5 individuals, and I wasn't doing my own stuff. I was literally babysitting them and just like trying to get them to be something that they weren't. And I was trying to push them, but they didn't want to help themselves. So it was just, I spent all my time, again, managing. And that's when I kind of said to myself, well, if I'm going to open up a brokerage and if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to go down that same road, because it just didn't work for me. It might work for other people. It wasn't for me, right? So I just hired the wrong people. It's basically what it was. And I was trying to manage the team in an incorrect way. And it literally killed 6 months of my life. Yeah.
Well, I'm in that building phase too now. But what would you say you learned that maybe you could for advice?
You got to hire the right people. You have to hire the right people. Even when I opened up the brokerage, the agent that I have working for me right now, Adrian Mazzocco, I wasn't looking for him. He had contacted me and he said, listen, I I love your social media. I feel like I know you already. You're the person that I want to work with. He's like, I'm getting my license. He goes, I'd like to come work for your brokerage. And I said, listen, I just opened up. Let's touch base at the end of the year. And like at the time, like my mentality was setting up my business, setting up my company. I hired a full-time assistant. And I said to Adrian, I said, listen, Adrian, let's touch base at the end of the year. End of the year, the guy was relentless. He called me, you know what I mean? It was just at the right time. I needed somebody, and he's been with me now 3 years, and it's just been fantastic. So now I'm looking to potentially hire another person, but hiring the right people that have your values, that have your work ethic. Maybe they're not going to be exactly like you, but they're going to have attributes that are much better than yours as well, right? Like I feel that Adrian, something that I love about him, he's such a soft guy. Like I feel like when I'm around him, like he kind of, because sometimes I can be a little bit abrasive, right? He just kind of calms me down a bit, right? So that's something that I love having around me, and it's something that I appreciate about him very much, right? So it's about helping, like everybody around you helping each other, and I think that's what a team's all about.
Yeah, definitely super important. And what you mentioned earlier about him reaching out to you and wanting to work with you, that is huge. Like if you're lucky enough to have that, then you know, okay, this person's all in. Like this person is investing, and they want to be a part of it, versus hiring someone who just maybe may look at it as like, oh, a job opportunity, cool, but they're not like all in on it. So when you share that vision or the values, like you say,
and the problem is that I feel like a lot of these like newer realtors, they just don't want to put in the work. They just want to join a team because the team leader is going to go ahead and give them leads, and that's not what it's about. And I even said to Adrian, I said, just so you know, I go, you're going to join the team, but I'm not going to start giving you leads because I don't feel that you're ready to receive leads. I feel that you need to learn the business a little bit before you kind of start going through the motions, right? There's a lot of things that you need to learn. And I feel that's the deficiency with a lot of newer realtors. They just focus on transacting. But you know, you went to real estate school, and you're not really ready to transact when you get out of school. Like there's so much you don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why like AREA, the Ontario Real Estate Association, they don't make it like the new realtors have to, let's say, apprentice with a realtor in the business that's been in the business 5 years or longer for like a year, let's say.
Yeah.
It would be great because now people that have teams, they would have realtors joining their team and helping them. And at the same time, we would be putting out better quality agents in the industry. Our industry would be better. Yeah. And that's a big issue because the public, we don't have a good name. People don't like realtors. That's the truth. And they don't like them because of the bad things that realtors do. Yes. But the reason why realtors do bad things is because they're not taught properly.
Yes.
So.
Yep. And you go to school, and when I came out, I had to relearn everything.
Yeah.
It's like I just hit the square one, erase, and make space and relearn.
Yes.
It's true, man. It is a flaw for sure, and I do like that idea. I do. It's
just to make the industry better, and I think that we're not, like the real estate industry in general, it's not growing. We are not growing. There's more realtors. Every year there's more realtors, and I know there's more realtors because people think that this job is so easy, and they see, again, like Netflix and all this stuff, and they just see these realtors making these massive commissions, and they don't realize how hard this job is. But these people are not ready to be in the industry. It's crazy. Like you go to school 6-7 months, and you can go ahead and sell a $10 million property. How is that possible?
Yeah.
You're an electrician, you apprentice. You're a doctor, you apprentice. You're a plumber, you apprentice. But our job, where we're taking like control of people's financial future, we don't have to apprentice. Like, it's crazy.
No, that's a great point. Yeah. I actually never thought of it like that or compared.
Yeah.
So I do agree. And just as a last talking point here, because you kill this part of the business, we need to talk about it.
Okay.
I know he literally came and just wanted to sacrifice the spotlight to talk about the failures, and I'll bring that value to people, which I respect. But I want to talk about how good you are at video, man. We're one of the first to come out with video like consistently.
Yes.
And it might be that marketing background. We did a vlog together. You know, we did a little thing together. And you're still like super active. As soon as I go on my Instagram, I just see you on a driveway introducing yourself. You have like the name, you know?
Not as active as I'd like to be, but at the time, I was just nobody was doing it. There was a couple of realtors, Amy Youngren, she was kind of like the first one that did a lot of these marketing tours, and Paul Greenberg, he was doing a lot of vlogs, right? So I kind of got in there, became friends with Paul, who's an awesome guy, and we kind of just started rolling with that, right? And then just now, like video kind of blew up, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's tough. Believe it or not, I struggle with video, and so many realtors are like, oh my God, you're so natural, this and that, the other. I struggle with it to this day. I do videos all the time, almost on a daily basis, and I still struggle with it. I'm a very shy person, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I'd say that to people and they're like, no, it's impossible. And I'm like, I'm a very shy person. I don't like the camera. I love this though. I love this. It's just very natural. You know,
It's casual.
Very casual.
But you're doing a lot. You're doing like the wings things, you know, you're doing all your little like other sorts of video, like just keeping outside of real estate.
I haven't been as consistent as I would like. I used to do like a lot of different videos, which I really liked. And I kind of feel that that's been one of the things that I've hated the most. I've stopped doing that stuff. And it's just because I want to take, like, if I don't feel 100% about what I'm doing, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why, like, over the past year, I haven't made as many of those videos. And we also got delayed with COVID. Like, you do a lot of videos with people. Obviously, during COVID, we couldn't film with anybody. Everybody was scared, or you couldn't go here, you couldn't go there. So it was just kind of a challenge. I think it stopped. Like, obviously, we did those lives. We were trying to do something, you know what I mean? Because we didn't have the opportunity to do the things that we were doing before, right?
And it was fun because we're all like learning. We're all square one. And like, okay, what do we do? Like, we're trying to like bounce off each other. I think that's when the collaboration between realtors really took grip.
I think so.
During COVID, we all kind of like, instead of, you know, kind of going into our own corners and like, okay, how can I beat everyone right now? We all kind of came together. It's like, all right, guys, let's come together. Let's collab a bit.
Not everybody,
a
lot of us. And it's just, I think that's kind of like a sad thing in real estate. Like, a lot of realtors are in competition with each other. Like, I don't see you as my competition. I see you as like my friend in the business. Like, and at the end of the day, I do so many deals on a yearly basis with realtors that help me or I help them. Like, you're an asset to my business. I'm not competing with you. You may have something that one of my clients needs. So obviously, if we have a rapport together, we'll be able to succeed together. Like, we have to work together. And there's so many realtors that literally turn into a pissing contest, or like, oh, I do more deals than you. Like, they kind of put themselves on a pedestal, and it's like, fuck you, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Literally.
We can swear on this,
You
right?
can definitely swear.
Okay.
Fuck that, you know? Those are the ones that go
list.
Exactly.
There you go.
And that's why I have a shit list, people. All right? Don't be that person. Like, it is a collaborative business. You will get way further collectively as a team, helping each other out, whether you're different brokerages, different teams, different areas. You know, referrals. You know, you have a client that wants Windsor. Drop the ego. Give it to someone out there. Have your client get proper service, you know, and you're going to get that in return.
You, my friend, are preaching to the choir. Like, I don't understand. I see like some of these realtors, even like realtors that are really, really big on the industry, realtors that you've had in your podcast. Won't mention the names, like you said. They're doing deals in like Windsor or all these places that are like crazy far away. Like, you don't know that market. Like, I have one of my clients that are going to be downsizing and retiring up in Niagara, and I have Andrew Perry, who you know. He's taking care of them. Andrew's got an awesome team. He's amazing. I know Niagara, but I don't know Niagara like not even a tenth of what Andrew knows, right? So it's like, get him to give your clients amazing service. So it's not necessarily about you making money. It's also about your clients getting what's best for them.
Exactly. And that's all about just dropping that pride and that ego.
Absolutely.
And just really looking out for someone else versus yourself.
Just being honest.
That's all it is. Yeah, being honest. It's so true. But speak to the shy person for a second. A lot of people struggle with the video.
Yes.
So before we end, I'm sure you can share, because you say you're shy. I never knew that.
Okay.
Didn't ever believe that. I'm sure people, when they watch your videos, like you said, they would never guess that. But there are a lot of people out there who will never get in front of camera. They psych themselves out. What can they do? Like, what's any sort of advice? Like, for other shy people out there, help them get in front of the camera.
2 things that I would recommend. Number 1, practice in front of a mirror. Like, even like today, when I do a listing video and I'll, like, let's say, come up with a script or whatever it is, I'll practice it and say it out loud. You can't say it in your mind, because when you say it out loud, it's very, very different, right? So practice in front of the mirror. And the best place to practice on is Instagram stories. In 24 hours, they disappear. Whatever you said, people forget about it the next day. So it's just like, practice. That's it.
I like that.
Practice makes perfect.
And you can get some real-time feedback.
Yes.
For those 24 hours.
Yes.
And if it's shit feedback, then just don't do it again.
Exactly. You'll naturally get better.
That's awesome. So
I feel like out of all your podcasts, this has been kind of like one of the most mellowest ones, or am I wrong?
They're all pretty chill.
No, but I feel like this is like super mellow.
It is mellow because we're just comfortable.
Maybe.
It's better like that.
I agree 100%.
I wouldn't want to be uptight.
No, definitely not.
And then, I start, like, I sweat. I told you earlier. I start sweating everywhere, and then this whole couch turns a different color on my side. Everyone thinks
that's
I'm
why you're
a
so
sweater.
far away, right?
So I'm far away.
Okay, got it.
I won't smell, though.
Okay.
So we're good. But any last piece of advice out there? You know, a lot of our viewers are people getting into the business, newer. You know, maybe speak to like the upcoming agent right now. Like any piece of advice you'd want to give to them.
That's honestly, I love that question, just because it's something that I feel it needs to be addressed. And just don't focus on transacting. The reason why a buyer or a seller is going to want to work with you is because you're knowledgeable. That's it. So if you don't understand the business, if you don't understand your product, if you don't understand what it is that you're doing, you're never going to be an asset to them. All you're going to be doing is just writing up paperwork and putting a sign on the lawn. People use you because you're knowledgeable. So learn, just continue focusing on understanding what's going on in a transaction, why, like, let's say there are certain deficiencies of a house. Like, don't just focus on your marketing, your social media, like focus on the real estate side of it. And then with social media, you can kind of explain to people and show them the things that you know. And that's the great thing. Like, let's say in when I started, there wasn't Instagram stories and all this sort of stuff, right? So it was so difficult to share people the knowledge that you had. Now it's a lot easier because, like, let's say if you are knowledgeable in a certain subject, you can talk about it. You can share that with people and people can see it. So just learn the business.
Great advice. And we've talked about that many times on here. It is lacking.
Yes.
People do focus on the wrong thing. That core is the knowledge.
Absolutely.
The trust comes from the knowledge.
Yes.
So love that you said that. But my friend, Mr. Armani, Mr. Giorgio's distant cousin, we have come to the end here.
Okay.
I want to thank you for coming.
No problem.
You've been awesome.
I appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been great, man. Again, can't wait to do more deals. Right?
At least 3 this year.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
I have that set up with many people. So
okay.
If that comes to fruition, Maddie's doing over 100.
Okay.
So
you got to have me back on the podcast now.
We will have exactly, okay. And we'll talk about all that.
Okay.
And all about all the positives, because again, he came here and he addressed a lot of the things that people won't talk about, which is super respectful, and I'm sure you guys can agree. But thank you, man, for coming.
No problem, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, anytime. And to the family out there, thank you as always for tuning in. You guys are awesome. I mean, we keep growing every single day because of you. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Keep sharing with all of your family members, okay? You know, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. And if you have a pet chimpanzee koala bear hybrid, please tell them too. We'll see you on the next one. Price to sell. Peace.